Former President Biden's cancer diagnosis just took a terrifying turn, and now the questions are adding up fast. Before we get into that, please like, share, and comment Explain America. It helps us get common sense journalism to the American people. So, was the American people lied to? Was Joe Biden knowingly undergoing treatment for aggressive cancer while still in office without ever telling the American people? Let's break down what we know. The White House recently confirmed Biden has been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer, but a growing number of doctors and insiders are casting serious doubt on the timing and public transparency of that announcement. Dr. Stephen Quay, a prominent medical expert, didn't mince words. He said, quote, "Prostate cancer is the easiest cancer to diagnose when it first starts and to watch it progress to bone metastases. The PSA blood test shows the rate of cancer cell growth. Even with the most aggressive form, it is a 5 to 7 year journey without treatment before it becomes metastatic, meaning it would be malpractice for this patient to show up and be first diagnosed with metastatic disease in May 2025. It is highly unlikely he was carrying a diagnosis of prostate cancer throughout his White House tenure, and the American people were uninformed." Now, Yale professor Dr. Howard Foreman added, quote, "It is inconceivable that this was not being followed before he left the presidency. Gleason grade 9 would have had an elevated PSA level for some time before this diagnosis, and he must have had a PSA test numerous times before. This is odd. I wish him well and hope he has an opportunity for maximizing his quality of life," adding, "Do you believe that he really never had screening these past dozen years? That he had a normal PSA prior to 70? It's just so odd to discover this with bone metastases in a man of his stature and access to care." Now, a famous urologist went on Newsmax and also revealed his opinion that it is almost inconceivable that this could have slipped through the cracks and nobody knew about it.
It's very unlikely that someone could get annual checkups and not notice a PSA elevation over the past, but this is what I typically would see in a VA hospital where a patient hasn't had medical attention in 10 years, presents to an emergency room with bone pain, and then they find that it's metastatic prostate cancer. But in the modern age of medicine, especially the fact that he was a former president, he had intensive state-of-the-art, care where we can see prostate cancer, 10 years in the past. So this is, it's very unusual to hear that someone has prostate cancer where they're annually being followed up. And the fact that we just find it at a Gleason 9 is just pretty much unheard of in this day and age of medicine. Even in the, even in the inner city populations, we
I
wouldn't
see. So,
see
so
it
you're saying
this bad.
even in a medically neglected population, it would be surprising to have a surprise diagnosis with a Gleason score of 9. So you're saying that certainly as
That's
he was
correct.
serving in the Oval Office, you believe that he knew that he had prostate cancer, and even potentially as he was running in 2020 before he assumed office?
Well, most likely he had prostate cancer for a long time, and the aggressive prostate cancer such as this at age 80 grows over a long period of time. I mean, usually it takes from the first diagnosis of prostate cancer to spread would take 5 to 10 years.
So this is the real question. With Biden's age, status, and constant medical access, how was this only discovered now? Or was it? Now we ask, was Biden hiding out in Delaware not just to avoid press questions, but to quietly receive treatment? Was his absence from public life, the limited visitor logs, and the bizarre overuse of the AutoPen all to cover up a serious illness? Let's not forget, Biden's only confirmed personal signature on any executive order or pardon was his pardon of Hunter Biden. Every other EO looks like it's an AutoPen. That's not just a red flag, it's a blaring siren. Now, even Barack Obama, his former boss when he was president, weighed in, calling Biden a, quote, fighter. Now, he also added that Biden had done wonders for cancer treatment throughout his time as a public official. But a New York Post investigation showed that his charity doled out millions of dollars in salary and did no research. So he can't even release a public statement without making an absurd lie within it to try to reshape the narrative, to create this sort of myth about Joe Biden. So we had a president of the United States where we didn't even know who he is, what his health is, who was running the show, who was signing executive orders, who was signing pardons, who was making foreign policy decisions, because it sure did not appear to be Joe Biden. This is a massive scandal, and the mainstream media is spinning as hard as it possibly can to try to rehabilitate their entire role in this giant scandal and this fraud upon the American people. It's been almost nothing but fraud after fraud after fraud since Barack Obama, Joe Biden's boss, came into office. And this medical cover-up and the curious timing about its release right after the audio segments of his disastrous interview with former special counsel Robert Hur are released are extremely suspect. So they're just engaging in the same kind of propaganda and lies that they've been running for 15 years now. Is it ever going to stop? Are they ever going to just be honest? I don't think so. That's why you have to turn to independent journalists who are not being bought off by massive corporations or huge advertising dollars. You are our audience, and we care about you and what you think. So please like, share, comment. Please give us feedback about this story. What do you think about it? How big is it in your mind? What questions do you have? We really appreciate it. This has been Kyle Becker with Explain America.